Good morning, everyone. So down here in the land down under, it is 8:30 in the morning on the 2nd of May. For you guys in the rest of the world, mostly, it's probably still the 1st of May. Um, what to tell you, what to tell you, what to tell you. Most important thing. Okay, so the liquidity pool tokens that I got from PancakeSwap when I locked up when I placed BNB opposite the People's Petrol token, okay, in a liquidity pool. Those tokens, basically because I'm the one who puts the money in, PancakeSwap gives me a token, which is basically like a receipt, the ability to withdraw liquidity, right? But what they, and that's a problem with like rug pulls and stuff. If you hold all the liquidity pool control, the tokens, whatever you want to call it, um, you have the ability to do a rug pull, right? But ah, if you take those liquidity pool tokens and you go to a, third-party website like Mudra, which is actually like, you know how in like Indian dance or in when you see statues of Indian like the Buddha or you know Parvati or any of the traditional Indian statues, a particular stance a physical stance or a gesture of your hand is called a mudra. So I was like, oh, I get that. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Sorry. Yeah, okay. An extremely well educated individual. Yeah, I'm a weirdo. Okay, I'm sorry. But here's the deal. Um, so the liquidity pools, tokens, all right, which are the only way, they're basically the keys to me to be able to get into People's Petrol token for anyone who buys, all right? Your money goes into the pool. But the only way I can get into that is if I have the liquidity pool tokens, which are now locked up on Mudra for 1 year. May 1st, 2024, a year from now. I cannot touch them until then. They are locked up and somehow on the website. So go to the website, www.peoplespetroltoken.com. Well, it's obviously www.peoplespetroltoken.com. Sorry. I will put the proof there, and I will give you a website, a link to be able to go look. Okay. If you want, there's actually some very interesting ways to, if you go to YouTube and you look up, um, how do I find out liquidity locks, length of time for liquidity locks? There's actually ways to do it. There's actually multiple step ways, but by the time you're finished, it will give you the list in seconds, which is like, billions of seconds or something like that. You copy that, you put it into this website that has the ability to translate that into minutes, hours, years, and it'll show you, okay, that's 364 days because we've lost a day from yesterday. So I am not lying. I have locked up all my ability. So to get any money from this crypto for 1 year, I can't touch it. So now I get to spend the next year studying, learning, advertising, getting the crypto sold. Um, so the most important thing is to sit there and say, hey guys, I've done everything I can to be as legitimate about this as I can, that this is not a scam. Okay, aside from that, slow down. Um, I have 10 things to say and I've only got so much time to do it. So the liquidity pool is locked up. Okay, that's a good thing. That's a great thing. By doing that, it means that you are 100% safe with regards to your investment. So remember what I talked about that crazy spike and then that that absolutely precipitous drop that is normal at most crypto initial offerings. Once the crypto gets noticed, once the words start going around on Instagram and Twitter and Reddit and everybody else, and everybody starts saying, "Hey, the next best thing, next big thing," um, then suddenly there's that spike. Okay, popularity equals people putting their money in, and to be perfectly honest, a lot of those people are not long-termers; they're short-termers. They're really hoping that they're getting in while it's still doing that meteoric rise. The smart ones are doing that. The dumb ones, like me, for example, on SafeMoon, when SafeMoon was, yeah, it was ages ago, back when SafeMoon was a thing. If you don't know about SafeMoon, look it up. Yeah, it's one of the worst scams. Watch CoffeeZilla on SafeMoon. He's got a whole 5 or 6 videos about it, and you see the internal workings, and you're like, this is just ridiculously bad. And yet it was one of the most valuable tokens ever. And the guy behind it, the man who was brought in as the CEO, etc., these guys have lost all their reputation. They will never be able to run a project again, etc. They don't care. They made millions and they walked away. There's very, very, very little that is going to happen to those people. And it really, really ticks me off. Sorry. Um, Going back to the fact that I'm trying not to do that, and I'm trying to prove it by locking up my tokens. Okay? You ask anyone, what does it mean if somebody locks up their liquidity pool tokens? It means that they can't touch what's in the liquidity pool. In other words, they can't withdraw the money for as long as the lock exists. And the lock's for 365 days, so that a year from now, we can all get together and I'll create some sort of a means for you guys to vote or communicate, and we will all figure out what the next stage is. Okay? So everyone who buys in has a right to contribute their ideas, and we can figure out what we're going to do. All right? So a year from now, what I fully expect, let me be honest. Remember, there's that big initial spike, and then there's that precipitous crash. Remember, I'm trying to avoid that by telling everyone, just put $100 in. No one's going to listen. A lot of people out there are not going to listen. And that's fine. You know what? I asked. I've been honest. I told you, $100 only. But nobody's going to listen. What a surprise that's going to be. Nonetheless, what is going to happen is it's going to go crazy up. It's going to come crazy down. It's going to happen. And that's not my fault. That's not my issue. I have no control over that. All right. If there is an unsustainable buy-in for no reason, just because of popularity, it's going to eventually crash because a lot of people will be taking their profits. Some people are going to put $100 in and they're going to get $1,000 back. And they're going to be like, yay, not realizing that what they're doing is they're basically crashing the, the token in a way. Okay. But here's the thing. At the end of all of those, if you look at the rise and fall of all tokens, to be perfectly honest, just go to CoinMarketCap or PooCoin or any of the ones that shows a good graph that you can read well. Look at those ones, and you will see that when it comes back down, it doesn't come all the way back down to zero. It doesn't come back down to the original price. It usually stays somewhere at 2 to 3 times, or with any luck, 5 or 6 times, the above initial offering price. Okay? What that means is that a year from now, we will have a significant amount of money to be able to work with. That money will still be there. The initial and crash, that's going to happen in a month. Could be a couple days, could be a week, could be weeks. That's what always happens. Um, but the fact that it's not going to go all the way back down to the bottom again, it's going to. Well, I can't do this with 2 hands. I don't know how to do that. Yeah, you know I need to learn how to insert charts and stuff. I'm so embarrassed. I'm sorry. I will. I'll learn. Nonetheless, the point is that it will not go all the way back down to a crash, and there will be significant amounts of money for us to access at the 365-day point. Now, if that's $10 million, cool, we can start. If it's $1 million, maybe not. If it's a few $100,000, it's a no. We can't do that. You cannot sit there and do what I want to do with that tiny amount of money. A tiny amount. I've never had a few $100,000 in my entire life. How lovely would it be to have a few $100,000? But this isn't for me, it's for the company. It's for the concept of being able to fly to the United States, create the corporation, et cetera, et cetera. And then, so I guess I'll just have to do lots of marketing between now and the 365-day mark to get people to buy in. I'll do my best. Okay. Um, so yeah, we're at the 5 point. We've increased 5 times over the past, excuse me. So stop it. Sorry. Um, we've increased 5 times over the initial offering price, the initial price at minting. So we're at 6/10 of a millionth of a penny. Yay! Just like so embarrassed by saying that. Yeah. Nevertheless, what we want to do is, yeah, we're gonna do our best. Um, what was the other thing? Oh darn! Give me a sec. I need to think about this. Okay, so I've been doing some more research, and one of the things, obviously, now I can do all this marketing by myself. I really am not a fan of social media. It's not my thing. Nonetheless, if I have to, I will. So I've created a Twitter account. It's ugly. I need to create a Facebook account. I need to, it's just everything. Reddit, everything. I have to create all these different accounts, which effectively draw people or drive people back to the website. Okay. Um, apparently it's working because like 9 people now hold our, well, okay, 9 wallets. That's not necessarily 9 people, but 9 wallets currently hold our token. The last purchase was for like a measly 3.6 million tokens, which is, I don't know, some ridiculous tiny amount of money. Um, and I'm like, what? Who just did that? I don't know, a bot or something. So there are now 9 wallets. 3 of those wallets are basically dead wallets, wallets that are the amount of people's petrol token in them is, point 20 zeros and a 1. So for some reason that's just like a dead wallet, or the transaction couldn't be completed completely, so they still have 1/100 billionth of a coin or something. It doesn't matter. The other 6 are active wallets. I think 3 of them are bots. Um, and I think a couple might actually be real people. Kind of scary. I'm confused. Um, so it's very interesting. So obviously at some point there's going to be 20,000 wallets holding people's petrol token, which is great. And at $100, that would be okay. Who knows? Who honestly knows? I really don't know. But I haven't even really started advertising yet. Okay. I'm dipping my toe into things like Twitter and other things because it's not really my thing. Oh, speaking of which, but there are companies out there that will help you do what's called, now the ICO makes a lot of money, but it's somehow considered to be somehow, so initial coin offering is somehow considered to be more risky. I don't understand. There, uh, aside from that, there's something called an initial DEX offering or an IDO. DEX meaning decentralized exchange. So all the websites that are out there that sell cryptocurrencies, they're called decentralized exchanges or DEX. And what you end up doing is you work with a company To be perfectly honest, the vast majority of the ones I've been looking at are in India. I'm not giving these guys a hard time, all right? Very smart people, and they recognize that computer programming is something that they're good at, they enjoy. Okay, I get that. Cool. There's been a lot of negative press lately about scams from India, so I'm sure that's hurting them. But okay, nonetheless, my point is that there are many companies out there, and they will charge thousands of dollars to help you create effectively an initial coin drop on all of these um, developer exchanges or decentralized exchanges at once. So if you were able to put out advertisements about this coin and get this coin advertised and sellable on those exchanges, right? Um, Obviously, that would be a huge boost. We wouldn't go from 9 to 90 to 900 to 9,000 people wallets holding people's Petrol token. The price would go up. That's that meteoric rise. Um, Now, I wanted this thing to grow organically, right? I wanted it to grow slowly. I don't know. I really don't know. I I need to figure out some money. I need to figure out some money issues because I'm poor. It it took me months to save up for, and then the last 2 months, all my personal disposable income has gone into this. Not a huge amount, but it is now, um, is it 3,000, 5,000, 5,000 American of money that has been placed into the liquidity pool thing, which means I can't touch that money. My personal money is now, I can't touch it. So that was my investment um, of providing liquidity for the people's petrol token. So as far as I know, it is now 100% liquid. In other words, the there's enough Binance coin or BNB in the liquidity pool to offset 100% of the people's petrol token. So if for some reason someone were to buy all the people's petrol token and then turn around and sell it again, there's enough money there to make that sale possible. Okay. Now, obviously, if they did that, the price would go up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, fine. But the point is that there's enough money now to be able to facilitate a sale of 100% at the current price. Obviously, as more people buy the token, they have to put BNB into the liquidity pool, which remember I can't touch for a year, and they get people's petrol token out. Okay. Um, the buying and selling is not in any way affected by locking the liquidity pools. The rug pull is prevented. You can't do that. You can't grab the money and run. I can't. I can't withdraw. I've never withdrawn once, not yet. I don't know how. Um, that's all I can think about right now. What else to tell you about? It's just a quick little video, basically. So no rug pulls. And the next steps are things. Hey, come on, guys, help me out here if you're interested. And if you're interested in working on this project with me, at the moment, you'd be a volunteer. But hey, you'd be a volunteer now. But what happens if we take off? What happens if we suddenly have $10 million in the bank? You're going to get a salary. You're going to get a good salary. All right. So volunteer for 6 months. Then we'll see how much money we've got in the bank. There are people out there, you have the knowledge, a lot of you, how to do this properly, how to do the advertising properly, how to get the token sold. Whether I should do an ICO or an IDO, initial coin offering versus an initial DEX offering, whatever. I don't know how to do these things. I'm learning, and I will figure it out. Locking the Mudra coins, man, that was terrifying because I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what am I doing? Am I actually like just giving all this money that I had saved up? It's my money, right? And my token and everything like that. Am I just giving it to someone? Kind of in a way, yes, no. So there's a lot of trust going on here, which is terrifying. But the Mudra site is well regarded. It's got no scandals, anything like that. It's just locks up your liquidity. Okay, fine. Um, 365 days, I can extend it. So if a year from now you guys sit there and say to me, the community sits there and says, "Hey, Mark, we'd like to continue advertising for another year. We need more money. The $1 million or the $2 million or whatever that we've raised is not sufficient. We need more." Okay, fair enough. Let's work on it. Let's start pumping the stock, as CoffeeZilla says. We'll start pushing to get more money in, more buyers, um, because we're going to need money to be able to pull this off. The only thing that's stopping people, I looked this up. I've been looking this up. The prices to be able um, to sink a well in the United States of America run from a few $100,000 to millions. It is not cheap. It is not an inexpensive activity. That's why there are only, I got to look this one up, but there was like I looked it up, 791 wells in the United States of America. Only 791 wells. And that includes oil and gas. Okay. So what that means is that it, hmm, it's a huge industry worth trillions of dollars, but the vast majority of those wells are held by big corporations, and there's only a few by the smaller ones. We're going to be one of the smaller ones, a very small one, and we're going to sit there and, hey, fine. You know what we're going to do? We've been over this before. I'm not going to go through it. What else to talk about? Nothing to talk about right now. Thanks for watching. Um, all I want to do is, I don't know. I'm just going to say goodbye for now. Please don't worry about things. The liquidity is locked up until May 1st, 2024. Cannot be touched until then. And we will all work on this together as to what we're going to do. If this takes off and we've got enough money, sweet. Next stages. Take out some of the money, use that to go to the United States, incorporate the corporation, start advertising, start looking at purchasing the leases. Remember, I told you I saw a lease in that was sold for like $40,000. It was probably kind of, a so-so lease. Who knows? Nonetheless, this is what we're going to do. We're going to keep trying. Um, Basically, like I said, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Yes, there's going to be a massive up and then there's going to be a massive down. In a weird way, that doesn't matter. Okay? The final stable price afterwards, the one that goes in a long, that's the important bit. All right? If we can keep that high enough that we've got enough money to be able to achieve what we need in the real world, we're going to be fine. All right. So don't worry, everybody. Um, we've done well. We've done very well. It's been 50 days or so since I launched the People's Petrol token. And little bit by little bit, we've increased the price by 5 times. All the liquidity is now there. So there's a full liquid backing for every People's Petrol token. There is some BNB opposite, and that is now locked up. So we have a year to advertise and a year to sell before we figure out what the next stage is. Okay? All right, everybody, we're doing good. I will. I'm going to use something from my youth. I'll catch you on the flip side. Yeah, look it up, kids. I know you're the young ones are going, what? Bye.